It's something that I'm still learning to. I know they say it gets better, but I feel like it's still exactly the same. And maybe as time goes on, I don't think it gets better. I think you just learn to accept it or something along those lines. But hi, team, and welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if it is your first time, my name is andiswa.mojapelo, and on this channel, we chat about all things related to managing our money and getting better at this adulting thing in general. So if this is sounds like your cup of tea, please make sure that you stay tuned and you check out our other content as well. So today we are doing something different. We're doing a personal Q&A. I asked you guys to send me some questions on what it is that you would like to know about me as an individual, and then I would address those in a video. And yeah, man, I'm really excited to do something different. And you'll notice that a lot of people do get to know me tags right at the beginning when they, start their channel. But I thought, I'm so eager and excited to get into the financial topics and to get into the money topics that let me start there just to give you a general idea of what this channel is going to be about from the onset. And then as and when the team grows, we can start talking about, personal things. So you'll see now that I'm inviting some people on the channel to share their personal stories and experiences. And I thought, well, what better way to welcome everybody who's joined us with a Q&A to get to know me a bit better. So, guys, two things that I want to address before we get straight into the questions. The first one is the fact that I absolutely want to just take a moment to give a huge thank you and welcome to everybody who joined us in January and February. This is more than 200 people. I know that I don't always take the time out to, thank you and show my gratitude in the other videos, but that's because, I like to dive straight into the topic and give you guys value from the onset. But I do not take for granted that you do not only consume the content, but you take time to subscribe and support me. It means a lot to me. And I want this team to grow. I want us to continue engaging on different financial topics, to engage with each other, to bring in different people, get their perspectives and their life experiences on how they experience and perceive and even understand money, and how it affects them as individuals. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us on this journey to financial freedom. However that financial freedom looks to you, I really do appreciate you being a part of this team. Please feel free to engage, chip in with video ideas. Tell me what you want to know. Tell me what topics you want to discuss. I think my latest video showed just how personal finance is, and we can go as wide as possible. But thank you so much, guys, for joining the team. I really do appreciate you. And of course, thank you to the OGs who've been here from the get-go. I appreciate you guys as well because you really do help, keep me motivated to continue and to go on. The second thing that I wanted to address as well is the fact that there are certain questions that I will not answer in this video. And that's purely because some of you guys sent me personal finance questions and I took them as video ideas for future videos. So if you don't hear your question, don't think, oh, she didn't answer it or she ignored it. It's just that it was about personal finance, which I'm very happy to talk about. Just that I wanted today to be different. So I will address those questions, but in video form, not necessarily in this video. Okay, let's get straight into the questions. First question is, how old are you? How old do you think I am? I am approaching the end of my 20s at the moment, and I am 29 years old. Let me know in the comment section, but I've heard that after the age of 25, you need to kind of like take a moment to think about your age because you forget. I literally had to type 2022 minus 1993. Okay, I'm turning 29. To figure out what number is next. So I am turning 29 and then I'm turning 30 next year. That's how old I am. The second question, which came from more than one person, was, what do you do for a living? And, someone even went as far as saying that, I know that you said it is your dream job in your latest video. And I was just curious as to what it is that you do. So I am a client success and operations lead, and I work for a financial services provider, right? And I know that these days it's very difficult to determine what a person does looking at their role. So I'm going to unpack what that means as best as I can, because I do quite a number of things in my role. And sometimes it also like gets me a bit confused when I'm trying to explain to someone what I do. But simply put, I like to put it as I help. Okay, so I work within a financial planning environment, right? In a financial services provider. And we basically help clients with creating financial plans that speak to where they want to be or the different goals they want to achieve. And in these financial plans, we cover different areas like retirement, investments, insurance, health, and all of those things. Basically, what do you need to be doing with your money in order to get to the point that you want to get at? And how can we best help you navigate that? So, the reason why this is my dream job is because for as long as I can remember, I have always wanted to help people manage their money. And I've got a whole video about why. So I won't get into that. But I'll link the video up here so you can check it out. And my role allows me to be right at the center between, your financial advice, your plans, your actual product offering, your relationship management, and all of these things. And as part of my job, I get to obsess over what is the best way that we can help professionals become successful. Whether I'm influencing the products that we are creating or developing or putting out there, whether I'm influencing, how we deliver the financial advice and what goes into the financial advice, whether I'm influencing the process in terms of operations. I just obsess about how do we help, young professionals and particularly young Black professionals become successful, and that includes also, managing community engagements or being a part of community engagements and being in discussions that relate to how best we can do this and what topics, especially in the financial space, that are affecting, the market that we service. So I hope I've explained what it is that I do. I'm not a financial advisor, but I work very closely with financial advisors and I really appreciate the work that they do. I intentionally decided not to go into becoming a financial advisor, and one day I'll share why, but I wanted to be right in the middle, like right in the middle of everything, to be able to properly influence different areas within the financial planning and financial advice space. And I believe that my job awards me the opportunity to do that. And I really, really do not take that for granted because it is honestly what I've always wanted to do. And like I said, it doesn't mean that there isn't certain things as part of my daily task that I don't enjoy more than others. But what it means is that I don't see myself doing anything else for the rest of my life, whether I'm doing it in that role for that company or I'm doing it in another company in a different role. But I will always want to make sure that I'm in a space that allows me to influence, helping people better manage their finances, however that looks like. And it is my dream job because I don't see myself doing something else. And I think from there, it's just a matter of how do I widen my reach? Like, how do I widen my influence? How do I widen my impact? But it definitely will never be anything different. I've always wanted to do this, and it's exactly what I'm doing now. Okay. Um, how did you meet your husband? This was also quite a common question. And okay, so a bit of context first. My friends will attest to this, but my type has always been tall, dark, and handsome when it comes to gentlemen. And interestingly enough, before I met my husband, I had never gotten this right, or how I like to put it, I had never gotten an opportunity to get this right. So it was either the tall, dark, and handsome guys that approached me, the personality wasn't a fit, or there was a personality fit, but they were not tall, dark, and handsome. So that has been my history up until the year that I met my husband. And yeah, so that has always been my type. So how I met my husband is that I met him at the office, first of all. Yes, I met him at the office. And it was my first day as an intern, and I was being introduced to the different teams that were there and part of the business. And when it came time to meet my husband's team, he was sitting opposite this gentleman who's very sweet and still is. And my manager basically introduced me to the gentleman first and who I am and what I'm doing here. And the gentleman was very nice, like, hi, very friendly, stood up, to shake my hand. and all of those things. This was 2016. And then my husband was sitting opposite this gentleman, right? And when it was his turn, he was just like, first of all, he was sitting down, he had headphones on, and he had his head down, and he was working. So when it was his turn, he was just like, hi. And that was it. And I was like, oh, okay. Everybody was so friendly. Like, who does this guy think he is? Why is he being like so serious and all of those things? She was like, hi. And that was it. So I thought, oh, okay, it's one of those, type of thing. Ladies will understand. So I thought, it's one of those. And I continued to meet the rest of the team members. So that was March 2016. And then um, I joined the business towards the end of 2016, and then I was graduating in April. So I honestly spent the beginning of April just like up and down, trying like going to head office for orientation, trying to get to know what I'm going to do and what it entails. And I was also, like getting ready for my graduation. I was very busy and like, a bit disconnected. So I don't think I saw him, or maybe I chose to like not see him type of thing because I thought he was rude. I say thought because I know better now. I thought he was rude, so maybe I chose not to see him. But I remember that for most of April I really didn't see him, and then I went away in April to graduate in KZN because I studied in UKZN. And then when I came back, I think towards the end of April, beginning May, is when I really started to immerse myself in the work. And then his birthday was in May, right? So how we actually got to connect and have our first conversation is that I don't know if I was photocopying or what, but I was doing something closer to where his team sits because we didn't sit in the same place. And somebody mentioned that it was his birthday, right? And then I was like, oh, okay, cool. So as I walk past his desk, I'm like, using the same tone that he used with me when he said hi that day, I'm like, happy birthday. And then like, I wanted to continue walking past. And then he's like, how is that it? And I was like, yeah, why? And then he's like, are you just going to say happy birthday? That's it. And then walk past. And I'm like, what am I meant to do? And then he's like, hug nyana, like, like a hug or something. And I was like, hey, okay, this guy can talk. Okay, sharp. And then I'm like, stand up, I'll give you a hug, a birthday hug. Now, here's the thing, right? I expected to receive a cold, like, church touch go, whatever hug from this cold, rude guy. And then he stands up. First of all, when he stands up, I'm like, sure, this guy is tall. And then he has his headphones out now, and I can actually see him at close range. And I'm like, oh, he's good looking too. And then, okay, ready to give this cold touch and go hug. He actually like heads for my waist, and I'm like, okay. And then I obviously have to do the arm thing. So if you are tall, if you're a tall kind of person, the ladies will understand. You have to do the whole reaching arm thing. So I did that, and I was like, okay, this guy is really tall because I had to like literally stand on my tippy toes. And I'm like, And honestly, it was that hug, and it was probably longer than I think it was, or how we think it was. Sorry, it was shorter than what we imagine it to be because obviously it's in the middle of the office. You're saying happy birthday. It wasn't that deep to us. It was, but in general, in the bigger scheme of things, I don't think it was that deep. But then I thought, oh wow, okay, this is cool. This guy's cool. And the rest, as they say, after that day is history. But soon after that, we got to know each other. And yeah, one thing led to another, and we are now married. We're no longer in the same office, and we no longer work for the same company. So yeah, that is how I met my tall, dark, and handsome husband. um, the next question is, what did you study? So I studied a BCom in economics, and then I did my honors in financial planning. So here's the thing, when I was in matric, I was really, really good at numbers, right? And I was already by then obsessed with money. You guys will pick up in my other videos. I think I've spoken at length as to why I was obsessed with money from a young age and all of those things. And I'll link the video up here. But I've always been obsessed with money, helping people with money, making money, and all of those things, and understanding it better. And I remember that in high school, I was really good at your finance subjects like your accounting, your economics, and all of those things. And I spoke to my accounting teacher, and I told her that I wanted to study something that involved me helping people manage money. And I don't know if it was a miscommunication between me, like I wasn't able to communicate properly, or she wasn't, or she just wanted me to become a chartered accountant and she used that as an opportunity. But after I had that conversation with her, she then suggested that I do BCom accounting and I go the CA route. And it was obviously something that was sought after. It was a big thing back in the day. I think it still is. It's a great accreditation to have, and I really have a lot of respect for it. So that's the route that she advised me to take. So initially, I enrolled for BCom accounting for that reason because I thought becoming a CA and studying BCom accounting would put me in that position to fulfill my purpose and my dream. But after first year, I was like, okay, there's a bit of personal finance here and there, but it was very like focused on institutions, businesses, and companies. And I wasn't interested in that. I was interested in people. I wanted to help people manage their money, not businesses or institutions. So there was a bit of a mismatch. But in first year, I think it was still okay because we were being introduced to various subjects. So I thought it would get better. And then in second year, course chowed a lot. And I think it was a mixture between course chowing and my disinterest, because as we dived deeper, I began to understand that this is not what I thought it was. And at the time, I honestly didn't know anything. Guys, career guidance is so important because at the time, I didn't know about financial planning. Like, if I knew that you could do financial planning as an undergrad qualification, I would have. I don't think UKZN had it at the time, though. So, yeah, man. So, I in second year, I decided that, you know what, course is chowing, and also this is not really what I want to do. And then I switched to economics. And I think the reason why I switched to economics as my major, I did a double majors economics, is because in the economics classes, at least they were speaking about demand and how it drives price and how people perceive value. And, we needed to understand why they are willing to pay certain things, how the economy affects people, and how the changes in the economy affect investments, and how the market moves, and how it feeds into the end consumer. So I had quite a number of subjects that were speaking to that. And I thought, okay, 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 this is closer to what I want to study. In hindsight, it wasn't economics that I was looking for. It was financial planning all along, but I didn't know that. So I did economics, and then my internship was in the investments environment. Again, I was dealing with people, investments. I was like, okay. Then I got introduced to financial planning. I'm not sure when, but I then did my postgrad in financial planning at the University of Free State. I did it while working. And it was like an aha moment, because I was like, yes, 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 this is what I've always wanted to do. Financial planning is what I've always wanted to do. So that's what I did my postgrad in. And that's how my studies journey went overall. And without like answering this question at length, like making it too long, I always say when I speak to high school, people in high school who are looking at what they want to study, I always say, try and find what you're passionate about. Like, what is it that you really, really enjoy? And then give your all to that thing. Because even if you do something you don't enjoy, that you are not passionate about, you'll somehow at some point feel like you wasted your time and want to divert back into what you enjoyed. I know a number of friends who studied something for 7 years and then ended up when in the field doing something else. So just find something you're passionate about and find something you enjoy, and then do research around what you can study that actually leads you to that specific thing. Next question is, what is the worst thing that has ever happened to you? So I saw this question and I was conflicted as to whether or not I wanted to answer it, because the worst thing that's ever happened to me is still quite new, and I'm not sure if I can answer this question while keeping composure. But at the end of the day, this is a personal Q&A, so, and someone did ask, so I think it's important that I address it. The worst thing that has ever happened to me in my life was losing my brother last year, November. It's still pretty new. I come from a family of four, or rather, we were a family of four. It's my eldest brother, and then it's a set of twins, and then it's myself. So there's quite a huge gap between my siblings and I. My eldest brother is about 14 years older than me. Then the siblings, the twins, are about 7 years older than me, and then there's me, the only girl and the last born. So growing up, we didn't really have like a friendly sibling relationship because of the age difference, and obviously they are guys and they are older, so they followed quite a like more like a dad role, like a dad mentorship role in my life rather than a sibling. We played together. We didn't do any of those things. But the younger of the twins and I were really close, probably because he's the younger of the twins. But we had quite a close relationship, and I think he really tried to fill that gap. So he'd like help me choose clothes when I was younger. He would like, advise me on hairstyles. He'd give me relationship advice and boy advice and all of those things. And in 2020, in December, like my husband came to pay lobola for me, and then the following week he paid lobola for his wife. And then we talked about how in 2021 we would both have our weddings also close to each other. We were that close, right? We spoke to each other every day and all of those things. And I always joke and say that he's the sister that I never had, because he really tried to, like be there for me in a way that a sister would, because I didn't have one. And we had quite a tight relationship. So, anyway, in 2021, he got married in March to the love of his life. And then I got married in May. So, we then introduced our partners to each other. So now my sister in law and my husband developed a relationship, and we all made these plans about how we'd spend, their birthday month, because they both born in the same month, which is May. How, my husband and my brother would spend, we'd celebrate, we'll alternate like how we celebrate their birthday. So this year, they'd come up to Johannesburg to our home when we have a home of our own, and we'd celebrate there. And then the following year, we'd go to their place. We made plans about how we were going to spend, New Year's together last year and all of those things. And like, yeah, man, I don't mean to take away from any loss, but I think that the loss of a child or a young person, my brother was only about 35, and he had just began to live his life and all of those things. So I think that the loss of a young person, especially the sudden loss of a young person, it just hits differently, man, and it broke me in a way that I never thought I would be broken. And it left a gap, like a space that I can't explain. And just to sum it up, because like I said, I didn't think I'd be able to compose myself with this question. That's why I didn't want to address it. But like how they say that people have heartache, you know, you have like a heartache. I've always thought of this to be like a figurative thing. Like I didn't think that your heart could actually ache. But last year, I could feel my heart like it was painful, when I lost my brother, because I lost a lot along with him. I lost a sister, a brother, a friend, a partner. Yeah, man. Yeah, I've never looked at death and loss the way I did after last year. And like I said, I'm not taking away from any relationship or type of loss, but I feel like the loss of a young person and the loss of, the sudden loss of a person, where one minute you're speaking to them and the next minute they're gone, is something that can't be compared to anything. And I would, and the loss of a spouse as well, especially when your partner is still young. And I actually get triggered a lot when I see, what happened recently with losing the public figure that we lost. I get triggered because it's almost like I can like feel the heartache again. I can feel it coming back, and I can sympathize with the person in a way that I never did before. So yeah, man, that was the worst thing that has ever happened to me, and it's something that I'm still learning to. I know they say it gets better, but I feel like it's still exactly the same. And maybe as time goes on, I don't think it gets better. I think you just learn to accept it or something along those lines. But yeah, man, that's the worst thing that has ever happened to me. It wasn't supposed to get this deep, but we did say personal. Um, the next question is, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? Okay, guys, I'm gonna try now to like really smash these questions that are left so that this video doesn't become too long. But I saw that you guys really don't mind long videos with the one that I posted last. So if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? I would I would learn to balance things better. I think I think I'm really bad at balancing. I think I have an over excessive personality. So if I like start a YouTube channel, I want to give all my time and energy and everything into that channel. If I like if I'm married, I want to give everything to that. And if I'm starting to read, I think if there's one thing I could change about myself, I would become less excessive and I'd learn to balance the different areas in my life a bit better. So I'm into different things and I would love to learn to give a bit of time to that and give a bit of time to this and give a bit of time to that. But I tend to find that, especially with new projects and stuff like that, even my work, like I just have this thing where if I want to get something right at work, everything must stop and I must just focus on that before hours, after hours, every hour type of thing. And I feel like obviously in doing that, the other areas in my life start lacking and I don't like that. So that's definitely something that I would change about myself. I'd become less over excessive and I just learn to find balance and learn that I've only got 100 and I don't I'm not able to give 100 I've got 100 and I need to learn to give 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Trust me to use numbers to explain this a bit better, but I hope you guys get it. um, what has been your greatest achievement so far? Honestly, my greatest achievement to date is being in a position to take care of my mom. I love my mom a lot. I owe a lot to my mom, and I am in awe of what she has been able to do for me and my family. And for the longest of time, what I've always wanted to do is be in a position to take care of her. Now, this does not mean that she's solely financially dependent on me, but it means that I'm in a position to give her what she needs and most of what she wants. She's not a difficult person to please, so that does help. And she's also quite financially savvy as well. That does help. But I've always wanted her to not have to work so long as I'm working. I've always wanted her to enjoy her life because she worked very hard. And by hard, I mean physically manual labor hard and also just life's challenges hard. And I've always wanted to be in the position where my mom doesn't have to work anymore and she doesn't work. She stopped working when I was in my final year, I think, or at the end of my final year. And she's never had to go back to work. And knowing that she doesn't have to really, really, oh, it warms my heart. And yeah, I thank God for being in that position to be able to take care of her. And obviously, I thank God that circumstances and the way they are also make it affordable to do so, if that makes sense. Um, favorite food to cook or eat. So I really love spice. I like spicy food. I like hot food, as in like chili. I love sauce, right? So I naturally gravitate around towards your Italian food, your Indian food, your Mozambican food. That type of food tickles my fancy. And in terms of favorite meals to cook, it honestly depends. I've got seasons. Like right now, I'm into Indian food a lot. So I make a lot of curries, biryani, and those type of things. Um, like a few months ago, I had like a vegan sprint. A few months before that, I had like a pasta and all of those type of things. So I like to make different things at different times. But I always gravitate towards sauce, spice. Yeah, those two things are definitely always a standard in my kitchen. Um, what's your daily routine, right? So, my daily routine is, I found this question very interesting because, firstly, you're assuming that I do have a daily routine. And I liked this question because it's something that I'm trying to start that I didn't necessarily have before. So, my daily routine is I wake up in the morning. And the first thing that I do when I wake up is that I reach out to my phone because I am subscribed to a church called Alive to God, and they send daily scriptures and they explain the scripture and they also have a prayer. I really enjoy that. So the first thing I reach for is that I open my phone and I reach for that email because it comes in at midnight. And the first thing that I read is the Bible verse, the explanation, and the prayer. And then after that, I have my morning prayer And then I really, really love starting my day with prayer and with just the word. And also, guys, I'm a lazy Bible reader. I don't even want to lie. I want to get better at it. But yeah, it's a work in progress. So subscribing to things like, you know, the Bible app also has things like that, challenges that you can do, and subscribing to something like this. I love reading the word in a challenge, sort of exciting way that keeps me consistent without necessarily having to open the Bible and choose a verse myself. So I do that. I pray in the morning, then I obviously make my bed and I tidy up, and then I take a shower. And then after that, to be honest, I work from home full time. So I sit on my desk from like 7:30 in the morning, and I am stuck there the entire day. I do intermittent fasting, so I don't have breakfast. I have coffee at 10, and then my first meal is lunch at 12:30. So I just wake up to make something to eat. I sit down, I eat my lunch while working, and I do that the entire day. And then after hours, I obviously, prepare for dinner or something like that. And then after I prepare dinner, I just sit down. I have that 30 minutes or an hour, sometimes 2 hours if I'm really exhausted, where I just watch TV, I catch up on YouTube, and I do nothing. Like I literally don't think about anything, and I just watch series or I do something for that 2 hours. I feel like it breaks me between work and being stuck on work, and before I actually do something productive, I like to have that hour to 2 hours of just doing nothing. And then later in the evening or at night, I'll pick up a book. I'm currently reading Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage, which I'm really enjoying. So I'm reading that. So like for the next 2 hours, I'll read or I'll do something like that, just to, do something productive. So I'll read or I'll work on my channel, get video ideas or whatever it is that I want to do. I'm usually productive before I go to bed. It really works for me. And obviously, there's certain things that I do, like my green tea or whatever it is that I skipped. I feel like this is why people have entire videos about their morning routines and evening routines, because I think that there's so many things that I'm skipping, but yeah, man, that's the gist of what I do besides the normal stuff that everybody else does. And then obviously before I go to bed, once I'm ready for bed, before I go to bed, I pray again at night. And yeah, man, that really helps me. I feel like that start with prayer, end with prayer really, really helps me. And I don't know what I would have done without my faith last year when I went through the worst part of my life. It really did help me with finding myself and just centering myself and facing those challenges and facing what I think is an unfair life and all of those things. Okay, guys, that is it of a very long personal Q&A. I'm really sorry that it is this long, but because it's a get to know me, I didn't want to just like answer the questions with one sentence or one word. I wanted to use it as an opportunity to dive into myself, not as deep as I went with that other question, but I wanted you guys to, see a part of me or hear about a part of me that you don't necessarily get to experience through the content. So I really do hope that you enjoy this and, you find pieces of value wherever you do. You know me, everything I do and I say, I always like to leave you with something that you learn or you get to do better, or at least something that you can relate to. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give me a huge thumbs up at the end. Thank you for making it to the end. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I really do hope that you consider subscribing after this so I can see you in the next video. Bye, team.